In preparing for auditions, many times you'll see not just first horn solos, but second horn parts in there. And a very important one would be the second horn part to the Beethoven Third Symphony in the Scherzo. And the big question is, why? Why do they have something like that? When you first look at it, you think, why is that on there? It's not a horn major solo, but it demonstrates articulation, the middle register, the intonation. It's a arpeggio, which you'll have practiced, we hope. And if you go into a different color when you go into the middle low register. So it's sort of in a very short amount of notes and measures, it demonstrates a great deal of what you can play. I think you have to go listen to a number of different recordings because you'll find them stylistically different. I always envision this as Don Green would say, do you have a word for this? So he would name all these excerpts. So the Beethoven 3, my name is, it's green, because I see music in colors. And it's green, and you're riding a horse through a green forest. So it's sort of horsey. And I think it's not for me, but it's... So you have to use the right kind of air, good articulation with this mouthpiece gets it for you. And you have to have it going forward. It can't get stuck in the back. So in this short little excerpt, you have to be able to play all of that arpeggios. And of course, when Beethoven wrote this, it was an E flat, and you had a crook in E flat, and you used one valve. And that is a great way of learning how to play this instrument, by playing it on the natural horn, because you have 12 natural horns on a double horn. And why not learn it the way it was first written to get the idea of how and maybe the dynamic would work? Because you see a forte, but maybe it's not as forte as Shostakovich, but it's forte for Beethoven. So you learn style. Some people traditionally take the very beginning. It's not written to do this. A little hitch. But I think if you go listen to many, many different recordings, you'll hear that. So in an audition, maybe you wouldn't play a really big hitch, but maybe a little slight one. You know, some people don't want to hear any. But I think it's a personal taste. You probably want to show them stylistically what is the tradition of playing this trio for the second horn part. And it's very interesting that you don't see the first horn part asked very often, but you see it second horn, many, many different auditions. Having this being a second horn solo, and because it does go down to the pedal E flat, there's also something you must also do in learning this. As typical, I haven't said anything about your right hand, but your right hand is terribly important in the acoustics of the horn. And as you go lower, I think it's really important that you realize you must open up your hand as you go lower because of the colors and the harmonics. And it doesn't sound stuffy. And sometimes you can immediately know, and I'll say to the student, well, you didn't open up your hand. Not that I didn't need to see that you opened up your hand, but you need to open it up so the sound gets out there. And if I'll demonstrate, and now I'll go. And it changes the intonation, it changes the sound. You may have to adjust a few things, but you just experiment how much you need to open up your hand as you play lower. And you'll find that it projects better. The articulation is a little bit quicker when you open up your hand on the lower horn solos. Open your hand. Pull your hand out.